Hi, I'm Mr. Tilbury, and I'm here for advisory, and
I'm Miss Pelzel, and I am the long-term sub for Miss Sutton.
And we're both counselors, and we're looking at focusing in on a couple of things today. We're looking at ACT, SAT test prep, and we also want to talk a little bit about resumes, and these both can be found on our Naviance program. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is a little bit about the ACT and the SAT. These are two tests that are required for college entrance, but you can pick which one you would like to do. And most of the time our students focus on the ACT. It's also based on what you have learned in high school courses in English, math, reading, and science. So it's basically what you have learned here. And taking challenging classes is being the best preparation for these particular tests. And some of the scholarships that are given by colleges or other places do base their results or based on the results of your ACT score, and that sometimes can be very interesting with that score that you'd want to have. But also there's other workshops and things available throughout the Career Center that I know Ms. Pelzel will talk about later. It also spends a lot of time in the high school courses in English, and so when you look at things, you'll be prepared to do so when you take this particular exam. There's some things you could take to prepare for it, like a workshop possibly out of the Career Center, or other areas, either online or through other companies or so on. But also scholarships could be based on this particular test. So is the ACT and SAT important? Yes, it is. For 4-year admission, they would require one of those scores.
Some important differences between the ACT and SAT test are important for you to note. The ACT test is accepted by most colleges and universities, especially here in the Midwest. Some highly selective schools do require the SAT, so you'll want to check on the website of any college that you're interested in attending to see which test they require. But for the most part, the majority of ROS students take the ACT test, and the majority of colleges accept ACT scores. Another difference is that with the ACT, you can choose which scores you send to a college. So if you take the test multiple times, you can select your best score and send only that score to each college that you apply to. However, with the SAT, all of the scores from every test that you've taken are sent to each college that you request to have your scores sent to. Another important difference is that with the ACT, the test is based on what you know or what you've learned in your high school classes. You are not penalized for guessing, so it's to your advantage to answer every question, even if you have to guess, so that you can try to get as many points as possible. With the SAT, however, you are penalized for incorrect answer, so you do lose a percentage of a point for each answer that's wrong. So just some important things for you to know, which is why it would be important that you prepare for the test before you take the test. So you might be asking, how can I prepare for the test? And one of your best resources will be in our Career Center. Ms. Tragi has many resources that you can use, including books, which you could get from the Career Center or from a Barnes & Noble or a store, but books would provide paper pencil practice tests, full-length practice tests for you to take. But another helpful resource would be the ACT website or the SAT website. They both offer online practice full-length tests. Mr. Tilbury mentioned that some ACT workshops are held, which you could participate in. We do offer practice tests hosted by the ROS Career Center. And another important resource is PrepMe, which is a program available through Naviance. We're going to look at this today. It does provide practice ACT tests as well.
And everyone remembers Naviance because you've had it in 9th grade and in 10th grade, and now as an 11th grader, you would have your code to get into Naviance to look up these different items. I just want to remind you with some of the things with logging into Naviance, It's www.connection.naviance.com/ROS, or you can also find it on the ROS website. Now remember, it says email, but what we're talking about is your student ID number. And I know that you'll remember this once you get going with it. And then also the password is the 6 digits of your birth date. And that, once again, is the example that's on the screen here, where it's January 15th, 1995. It should be 011595. So we don't want to have the 19 on that for that. So just remember, the email is really your student ID number, and then the password is the 6 digits of the birthday for you to log into Naviance.
So now that you are logged into Naviance, you will bring up your Family Connection homepage, and under Resources on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the link to Prep Me. So we'll click on the Prep Me link. And here we are on the Prep Me page. So we are going to go to Course right here. And now it's going to give me the option to take either an English section test, a math section test, a reading section, or a science. And I will start today, I think, with the English. So we will click on the English test. And then you can see it brings up a practice English test. So this is going to be test questions that will be very similar in format and type of question to the type of questions you will see on an actual ACT test. So you can use the scroll here to scroll down and read the passage. And then you'll see below the first question that you want to answer. When you finish answering that question, you'll click on Next, and it will bring you to the next question. So, and you can tell that there are 15 questions in this section. When you're finished, you'll go up here and click on Submit Test, and it will score the test for you. So you will actually be able to see which questions you got right and which questions you answered incorrectly. And that way, if you need help figuring out where you went wrong in any area, you can always bring that question into a counselor or into a teacher, and we can help you problem solve if you're needing some assistance in improving your score.
Well, I know that we mentioned test prep on Naviance, and I know Ms. Pelzel was talking about that, but I want to move to another aspect that we wanted to cover today, and that was regarding your resume. The resume is something that is experiences and skills that you had along the way. It highlights your accomplishments to show that you are qualified for the work or college that you want. It includes the more important extracurricular, volunteer, and leadership experience. And we do suggest that you use Naviance to start building your resume. Now, it's something that you want to look into because resumes are a part of our life that we want to put together, and we'll show you. And Naviance has a good starting point. So we'll move to that part of the screen. Well, now we have a chance to look at Naviance because we want to show you the resume area on Naviance. Resume is going to be really important for our junior year. So we'll go to the screen, and we can always go to the home page, which shows it's showing right now. But I want to go into something called About Me, which is one of those spots up on the top. We'll go into Resume, and you can see all the different things that we need to put together. Whenever you look at a resume, a lot of times they have objective, summary, work experience as these things that I'm laying out there. So let's say we want to start with our objective. We could click on objective. It gives us an opportunity to type up something, into that particular area, and then we add to the resume. Then we could go to our next spot, which was the summary. And as you can see, some of the points that we could write down and put into our category, we could do that. And as you work all the way down, you can see education is a part, volunteer service or extracurricular activities, awards and certificates, and on down. A lot of times students don't remember that things are very important, and they may not think they're important, but they are. Any type of volunteer situation you might do, even if it was, feed my starving children for one day, well, that is something you could put down on your resume to show that you are putting things together for the next level of your education.
So we have discussed the ACT and SAT tests as well as building your resume today. And we just want to leave you with some thoughts on planning for your junior year as you move through your junior year and toward your senior year, some things that you should be thinking about as a junior student. First, you should be using Naviance to explore careers and college. You should be using Naviance to explore career options and the education that's needed to get into those career fields. You should meet with a college representative in the Career Center. You should also arrange campus visits to schools that interest you.
And like always, as we say in Counselor's Minute every week, continue to take the challenging courses that you would take in your schedule that you can possibly make it through. And also, when January rolls around, we will be registering for classes for next year. So your 12th grade classes are really important to look at and see what happens with that and really make your decisions on what classes you're going to take based on what you need after school. And then also take the ACT or SAT in the spring. Probably the best time to take it would be in the April time period because you would have most of your junior year coursework worked in, or if you look at the June date, usually that's the day after school lets out. So I think that the best possible scenario would be April.
Upcoming ACT test dates for you to be aware of. The December 8th date is past, but there is one coming up in February, which some students will choose to take. The deadline for registering for that test, though, is January 11th. The most popular ACT test date for juniors is the April 13th date. And so be aware that the deadline to register for that is right at the end of Try 2, start of Try 3 on March 8th. So be aware of those dates. Another option would be June 8th, and the deadline to register for that is May 3rd. Good luck to everybody as you prepare for the ACT and enjoy the rest of your junior year. Definitely stop into the Roz Counseling office with any questions or to get extra support with any of this. We're all here to help you be successful and plan for your future.
Okay, just a reminder that your Roz counselors are available for you, like Ms. Pelzel had said. And Mr. Kaiser, for example, is student's last name A through D. Ms. Sattler would be E through J. Mr. Johnson would be K through M. And then also Ms. Pelzel, Okay, this is take two. Take two on the Roz counselors that I know very well. Okay, the Roz counselors are available for you at any time, like Ms. Pelzel was talking about, but I just wanted to mention which letters of the alphabet that they serve for last names. Mr. Kaiser is A through D, Ms. Sattler would be E through J, Mr. Johnson K through M, Ms. Edwards N through SLA, and for Ms. Sutton, Ms. Pelzel SLB through Z, and myself with Northeast Metro and post-secondary enrollment.
And also not take two. And also not to forget, Ms. Tragi in the Career Center will be an invaluable resource for you as you are exploring careers in colleges and moving through your junior year into your senior year. Thank you very much for your attention today. Enjoy the rest of your junior year.